Welcome to the AJ Anything Podcast. Good evening or good night, or morning, or dusk, or dawn. Actually, you could be listening from any of those time periods. Either way, welcome. Welcome back to the AJ Anything Podcast. This is your host, AJ Anything, and I have a few co-hosts for this episode. Co-host number one, Taylor Kuck.
Howdy, y'all.
And
I have one quick question for everybody. Well, I guess for AJ.
Mm-hmm.
Is your last name really anything?
Yes, it is. AJ Anything to you. My co-host number two.
AJ Anything.
My co-host number two. Not to say that he couldn't have been number one, but I guess he's number two for tonight.
I chose this. I wanted to be number two for this one.
Andrew Engelman. Why don't you give the crowd a shout?
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? We got him.
We got him.
We got him.
We got him. Wow. What a legendary speech. If you haven't heard the speech, look it up. Ladies and gentlemen,
Paul
we got
Bremer.
him. Yes. What was that name again?
Paul Bremer?
Paul Bremer.
I'm just assuming that's how you say his last name.
Some
'cause
political guy gave a 6-second speech, and it ended with a 30-second applaud, so pretty good speech.
that's all he said.
From words to applaud references, I don't know, comparisons, it was pretty good. Anyway, tonight on the AJ Anything Podcast, we're talking about Rons in general, just the legendarity of the name Ron, and
Not just any Rons, the legendary Rons.
the first Ron we will be discussing is Ron John and the story behind his surf shop.
Ron John Surf Shops. Y'all know how this started?
Tell me.
Dude, it is a crazy story. Ron John, big surfer,
Big surfer.
out in Cali.
Dang.
Santa Barbara specifically. Ron John surfing in Santa Barbara, California, joining surfing competitions. He's getting so good that he gets flown out to Hawaii to go surf on Oahu.
Wow.
That's like creme de la creme for surfing, right?
All right.
He's doing super great and everything, and then he crashes into rocks, gets injured, and booted from the competition.
Oh, bummer.
But now you're in Hawaii. You're not just giving up on your dream. You still want to be a surfer dude. You don't have to be in the competitions, whatnot. You still want to surf, right?
Yeah.
So he comes up with a bunch of products and a bunch of stuff that he as a surfer would have liked to have, and sells them in Ron John's surf shop right next to the competition. Blows up, goes viral.
Blows up, goes
We
viral.
got to remember how it blew up, though, because during his surfing days, he actually had a pretty popular fan base, not just out of Santa Barbara, but he even had people out, like, on Jersey Shore. They were like, we dig this guy. This guy actually can represent us for what we have, because we actually enjoy surfing, too. We're not West Coast, but, we enjoy this guy's vibe. So he's got a fan base on both coasts at this point. In his earlier days. And so when he gets injured, he actually didn't have a lot of money to support himself and even cover his hospital bills. So this guy's in the hospital and he's wondering, how am I going to cover these expenses? I can't even pay to get myself fixed up. And people hear about this. A friend leaks it to people, and starts talking to people in his fan base, and they get the word out and they actually pay for this man's living expenses, his rent at his apartment, and his hospital bill. And so he gets some pretty big publicity there, going on, to where people actually get his name out there. They're hearing about what's going on and stuff. Ron John, the guy who represents us, is injured. We need this guy back out there. And when they hear that he's releasing products, especially in surfing, the thing that they love and the thing that brings them around this guy, they're like, we are all in on this.
Dang.
And so it blew up in a matter of 2 years. It had already gone nationwide.
So that is the story behind Ron John and his surf shop. What a legendary story for Ron. There's many more Rons to be discussed. What's our next Ron? Who to choose from? We could do like Ron Burgundy. You want to do Ron Burgundy next?
I think we should real quick just talk about what it means to be a Ron.
Okay.
I think
yeah.
what it really means to be a Ron is to take yourself wherever you're at and learn how to turn your life into something successful. Because we're talking about, there's a number of Rons out there. There's Ronald Reagan. We'll get to him later. He's a Ronald.
Yeah, Ronald.
We got Ron Burgundy. We got Ron Swanson. All guys of affluent nature.
Yeah.
To say the least. And then you have a couple other Rons. You got
Ron Stoppable.
Ron Stoppable, very, very mediocre at best at the beginning of his career.
Yeah.
Ronald McDonald.
Ronald McDonald. People got problems with Ronald McDonald.
Ron Weasley.
And we can all say that at this point, in those guys' career, they've risen out of a mediocrity. So it really means to just rise above. Ron, in the Greek, means to rise above.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you can fact check that. I will confidently say, fact check that and say otherwise to my face.
So yeah, why don't we start with we just started with the story behind Ron John and his surf shop, but let's go into some Ron Swanson action. So this is a guy. He's just a guy, likes the woods, likes the outdoors a lot, has money, buried under big oak trees and such.
As you do.
As you do as a Ron. As a Ron and a libertarian. Hangs out on the, right side of the spectrum, if you know what I mean. So Ron Swanson.
Where's Ron Swanson's big break?
Ron Swanson's...
He goes from hiding money under trees
Yep.
to his big break. What happens then
his
for Ron
big break.
Swanson?
So Ron Swanson had his big break when he was in the military. And he was there. It never says this. In his whole life story, he never mentions his days in the military. But when he was there, he broke his leg and cried. 3 tears, which is 3 times more than he'd ever shed in his whole life. And he had to keep it a secret. And so to keep it a secret, this is his big break. He never told anyone he was in the military. Consider it broken.
What branch did Ron Swanson serve in?
I don't know.
Marines, dude. It was Marines.
It had to
Don't
have
you
been.
remember?
I
It's in the
forgot.
show. I remember that much. It's in the show. Fact check it.
Oh, man. Okay. What are the Rons?
Ron
are
number
there?
3.
Yeah, Ron number 3.
Ron Stoppable.
Ron Stoppable.
What a character, dude.
He is.
That is hard to beat.
What a mediocre. I mean, the man's best friend is a girl who won't date him, and his second best friend is a mole rat.
Yeah.
So, for those of you that don't already know, Ron Stoppable is Ron from Kim Possible.
It is. Ron from Kim Possible.
He's the go-to right-hand man for Kim Possible.
Yeah, for Kim Possible, which is pretty good. And honestly, throughout the season of the shows and the seasons, he eventually, he gets the girl and he gets, fighting off bad guys. He can do it now. So it's like he's
turned his life around.
He's turned his life around, which is what the story of all Rons is. Every single Ron rises up in a mediocre life and they become successful in some way, somehow.
It's true. It's true. One quick thing I really think is important to the story, going back to Ron Swanson. When we're talking about his beginnings, y'all remember the story where he is 9 years old and he goes to work at a sheet metal factory. So not very traditional, today. But this guy goes in, he works at a sheet metal factory as a 9-year-old, and by the second week of work there, he is running the entire floor. And I don't know about you guys, I looked up the median salary of a sheet metal factory, like, you know, plant manager, like floor manager,
Doer,
$60,000 a year.
$60K.
So as a 9-year-old kid, this guy made his come up.
And I'll tell you what, child labor laws are destroying this country. That is an actual quote from Ron Swanson. So you go look it up, fact check the heck out of that one. Oh, man.
All right.
Yeah.
Y'all ready for Ron number 4?
Ron number 4. Give it to us.
Introducing the Ronalds.
The Ronalds.
The Ronalds.
The Ronalds. An
Yeah.
entirely different class of the Ron.
But still a Ron.
Correct.
Still a Ron.
We go to the one, the only, Ronald Reagan.
Ronald Reagan. What a legend. A president, to say the least.
An actor,
An actor.
to say the most.
To say the most.
A radio host.
Radio host. Wow.
A lifeguard.
Lifeguard.
That was the peak of his career,
Yeah,
honestly.
that was the
World-class guy.
Yeah. They had lots of friends, lots of people liked him.
Last time we hung out, it was a ton of fun. Like,
Yeah.
you should meet him.
And also on the right side of the spectrum, too. So,
It's a running theme with Ron's. We don't know why.
yeah, I think it has something to do with the power of the R. You know, they don't
Republican and
Yeah.
Ron.
we don't know exactly why, but it tends to, you know,
It's not a lot
be in both.
of polarity there.
So yeah, Ronald Reagan is a legend as a president, as an actor, just an awesome guy. We also have Ronald McDonald, who makes you happy.
I mean, I don't know about you guys. When we're talking about a list of Rons, Ronald McDonald is the one where I'm like, all right, creepy cousin, you can kind of like be here, but like, don't be hanging around too close.
Let's talk about the story of Ronald McDonald for a minute.
Yep.
Because this is a very, like, unknown story amongst the public.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I'll say this. It's also one of those stories that people change a lot.
This is true. Andrew, would you like to give us the unrefined version of Ronald McDonald's startup?
Okay, this is like very unrefined in the sense that I don't have technical names here either, because I know there's a crew. Ronald McDonald has a crew. You know, there's the big Barney-looking dude, the big purple guy. I don't know what his name is.
Barney.
Wait,
oh.
no, you know what I'm talking about. He looks like a giant jelly bean, but he's.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
You
I
know
don't
what I'm
his
talking
name,
about. If somebody knows his name.
We got the cheeseburglar.
There's the cheeseburglar.
Very important.
Very important to that crew.
Tell you what, Ronald McDonald has faced so much, so many attacks, so much hurt from the cheeseburglar. He has been through so much from that man.
That it really built him up as a character. Like, he's, you know, started from the bottom, and as Rons do, they just work their way up through the top.
Hold
and
up.
Cheeseburglar really helped him out.
I don't know about you guys. I mean, I like the narrative of the Ron, but like I'm full blown. Like Ronald McDonald freaks me out.
He's terrifying. Yeah.
You know,
He's a spooky dude.
like It Too just came out like a couple weeks ago, and every time I think of Pennywise the clown or I see a red balloon, I think Ronald McDonald first.
Oh boy.
That guy scares me.
Okay, hold up. He still lives the Ron, you know, story. So
He's very successful. Everyone knows who
that's
he
true.
is.
Yeah.
He scares me personally. I mean, he just looks like, you know.
What about Ron Weasley?
Ron Weasley.
Yeah.
What a guy.
I mean, y'all seen Harry Potter, right?
Classic Ron story right there.
Yeah.
I used to hate that guy.
Yeah.
Dude, everyone did. That is the Ron.
I
That
was-
is the Ron and Ron
there's a Ron
Weasley.
story.
Everyone hated him, and then it comes to the end of the series, and everyone's like, what? Where did this man come from?
Yeah,
Also,
exactly.
when they have that scene, though,
Oh,
at the end
oh
of
boy.
in the end of part 2, Deathly Hallows, where they're like, "This is the future," you know, and like Ron, or, you know, Ron and Hermione are married and stuff, and you know, Harry and
That's weird,
Ginny are
yeah.
married and stuff.
Yeah.
It's like that man put on some weight. I'm gonna say that he put on some weight, and I don't know about, you know, for the audience, you know, I'm a redhead, so like I see another redhead around, I'm just like, hey. Me and you,
Yeah,
we get each other.
We get each other.
Ron Weasley, I was like, we were not on the same wavelength for a while. But this man came up, and, after all the weird hormones of, like, the 4th and 5th movies and stuff were passed and everything, I was back on the same wavelength with that guy.
Gotcha.
It took 5 movies, but
Ron successfully made it with the redheads.
he did.
He made it to the redhead train. And
we got 2 redheaded Rons.
we do.
What do you mean?
Ronald McDonald.
Ronald McDonald and Ron
Wait,
Weasley.
Ronald
Weasley. You know what's No, hold up. Is Ron Weasley Ronald McDonald?
Bro, I mean...
Have we not thought this through enough? Like, what is going on there? I mean, everyone did hate Ron Weasley at first.
And now he's got the girl.
He's got...
How did he get the girl, though?
Potentially he's
got
got
his league, man.
Did he?
Did he make billions of
Billions
dollars from
of
starting
dollars?
McDonald's
He?
and build his empire
Oh, my
to get
goodness.
Hermione?
What a thought. You know what?
I didn't think she
Take
was
it
that
from us
superficial.
first.
Hermione didn't care about anything but his money.
You heard it here first. Ronald Weasley is Ronald McDonald. He is.
Done deal.
Wait a minute, though. I'm thinking maybe this is just the skewing of his name.
Why do you think the Harry Potter's movie stopped?
They didn't, though. Didn't they
Because
redo it?
he's full-time Ronald
He's
McDonald.
full-time Ronald
He has
McDonald.
been full-time Ronald McDonald since like the 60s.
He has no time to do
What?
both anymore. It just doesn't work for him.
I don't know if this is just me now, but now I'm thinking of redheaded Rons. Like, Ron Burgundy. His last name is Burgundy, and so I don't know if that's skewing my perspective on the color of Ron Burgundy's hair. But, like...
Well,
I
don't think he's natural redhead.
He did... Wow.
I think he's a brown-haired boy.
Ron Burgundy is certainly not a boy.
Well,
He's a man if I've ever seen one.
He is a certified Ron.
He's got some
he
chops.
is. He's doing well, my friends. I was just listening to the Ron Burgundy podcast myself after doing my business, and he's still got it going on. Also, Between Two Ferns, he like owns that. I don't even know how. He owns Funny or Die, so he is doing just fine, as Rons do in their later life.
The early lives
Only in their later life.
Except for Ronald Reagan and Ron Swanson. That's the exception.
Ronald Reagan, from day one, out the womb, that man was a legend.
He was.
Comes
he was
out of the
never
womb-
a boy.
Comes out of the womb and is like, hey, babe, how you doing?
All right. Do we have any more Rons to discuss?
I'm trying to think. We covered a lot,
I would like to say, everybody is required to select their favorite Ron.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good stuff.
You
What's
are.
your favorite Ron.
So submit them below and subscribe below. Well, you can subscribe wherever the subscription button is. But we do have one more final Ron to discuss. This is our designated Ron of the evening. His name, Hot Rod. Hot Rod is our designated Ron. Started from the bottom. He lives a life of a Ron. So he's basically a Ron. Starting from the bottom. Yeah. The designated Ron started from the bottom, and he rose to the top, just like all other Rons do. Hot Rod was just riding his bike, doing some tricks around town, and eventually he jumps like 1 million buses. 1.1 million buses he jumped. So he's a Ron if I ever knew one.
Hey, my name is Rod, and I like to party.
My name is Rod, and I like to party.
Oh, heck.
So there you have it. All the Rons discussed in their legendosity and their legendariosity. So that's about all we have for you tonight. Thanks for tuning in. Why don't we give the fellas a wave? All right. That's the end of the podcast. Thanks for listening to the AJ Anything Podcast.